Americans are enthralled to insurance companies. As a personal injury lawyer representing people who were hurt in traffic on bikes and on foot, I see it just so often. I mean, I talk to people and I explain to them that by law they're required to have a certain type of coverage that they purchase if they have an automobile policy. It's a type of coverage that protects them in the event a hit and run or an unidentified driver or, just an uninsured driver hits them. They've paid for the coverage and they say, well, no, I don't want to make a claim because my premiums might go up. So the business model of the insurance companies is sell as much insurance as possible and then discourage claims as much as possible. How do they discourage the claims? It's really an amazingly long list, and most people are blind to it. The number one way of preventing people from making claims on insurance that they have a right to claim upon is by hiding that coverage from people. So people have no idea usually that the automobile policy they have covers them for harm arising out of anyone's use of an automobile, even if they were on foot or on a bike and struck by some other person in an automobile. If that person didn't have insurance, didn't have enough insurance, didn't stay at the scene long enough to be identified, your own auto policy mandatorily has coverage for you that will take care of your medical bills and lots of other harm and losses that most likely befell you. People don't even know that that coverage is there in their policy. But when they call me because they don't know what to do, they're out of work, they have medical bills, they have all sorts of problems because they've been hit. And I explain to them, well, you have this policy. Even though the driver who hurt you can't be held accountable in this case and we're not going to be able to get the compensation from that driver, they don't want to make the claim because they're afraid that their premiums are going to go up. Well, why would you buy insurance unless you intend to make claims on it? And the fact that insurers can actually, convince people to buy a product and then not use it out of fear that the next time they buy it, it might cost more. Name another product like that gets marketed that way and that the provider of that service can run a more and more profitable business by convincing people not to use it. It's unbelievable. Another way that insurers persuade people not to make claims is by making the process of claiming stigmatized, by sending out messages in all sorts of subtle ways. The lawyers who will help you if you're making a claim for having been hurt are sleazy. You don't want to go near them. It's going to be like this huge invasion of your privacy. You're greedy if you're trying to visit harm on someone, even if they did harm to you and they're refusing to accept accountability for the harm they caused. Insurers just through all these different channels have convinced people not to take advantage of the insurance that they purchase, often because they're required to purchase it. What a great business. If only people could see the rights that they have under the applicable insurance, even when they don't have insurance, from funds that the insurance industry is required to set up to cover the victims of crashes, even if their drivers can't be identified or didn't carry insurance, we'd have people with more whole lives. We'd have people whose fractures and bones were properly set so that they could get back to work without a disability, who could live longer and more full lives because they're using the benefits that by law we've set aside and made available for them to deal with all the carnage from motor vehicle collisions. But as long as people listen to the insurers and worry about, what could happen if I make a claim? How will people look on me if I'm a claimant? What will the insurer do to me if I make a claim? You're just paying money for nothing. You're just giving money away to the insurance industry just because you have to. And it just goes into this black box, and then harm befalls you, and you don't even know to go to the black box to look for, where was all that money I put in that was supposed to be there to protect me if something bad happened? You don't go in because people are persuaded, they're programmed, they're stigmatized, and they're frankly brainwashed into not making claims on their insurance.